Dr Maurice Duffy here, and I'm absolutely delighted to welcome Rosie Belsham, who's the English international golfer, but I'm sure she'll tell us a little bit more about that as we go forward. Is part of the series that I'm doing in talking to interesting and entertaining individuals. Hi Rosie, how are you?
I'm good, thanks Maurice, thanks for having me. So yeah, I'm a England international golfer. I travel all over the world, just playing golf, I guess, just having a bit of fun.
I know, but you're +3, and you know I'm gonna be a -24. That means I get 20 shots, and I bet you would still even beat me at that at that kind of scenario. So, how did you get into golf in the first place?
Well, my dad and grandpa always played, and then we've always played hockey as well, so I've always kind of hit a golf ball or hit a ball. And then my mum, they started this thing in about 2012 maybe, 2010. Was called Cafe Golf, so my mum started that at the local club, Whitley Bay, and I just thought, well, I don't want to be the only one in the family that doesn't play, so I went along, and it was a kind of a competition to see who could get the best, the fastest, really.
And so, were you always a prodigy? So, when did you start playing golf? What age were you?
I was about 10, probably, when I sort of started with like plastic clubs and that. But I probably started like properly playing on the course and stuff when I was, what am I now, 18, about 12, yeah, probably. Got my first set of clubs, had lessons and stuff.
So, in 6 years, you've gone from to +3. In 30 years of playing golf, I'm still on 24. So, what makes it different for you?
I would say I'm quite a sporty person, so like I just enjoy doing it and kind of pick up different things quite naturally. But I think it just kind of clicked with me, and like, because I could have competition with my mum because she's a similar standard, and then I was like, well, I want to get good enough so I can beat my dad. So it was kind of like just the determination, because I'm very competitive, so I wanted to win. I wanted to beat my parents, so just a lot of hours of practice.
So, and that's a really interesting point, right? So, you're very competitive, without doubt, and hours of practice. When you say hours of practice, what do you mean by that?
Well, to start off with, it's hitting hundreds and hundreds of balls, trying to get it to go straight or somewhere near straight every time. And then and then I guess developing a short game, because I think that's probably the key factor to golf. Is you can hit the ball, but you have to get the ball in the hole at the end of the day, and around the green is probably the best bit, and just coming up with games and challenges to practice in the situation that you would be on the course.
Okay, and how much of that is physical and how much of that is mental?
Well, a lot of it is physical, probably 98% of it is physical. And I would have said like playing golf in a tournament is probably 50% mental game and 50% actually getting the ball in the hole. But majority of golfers don't practice the mental side, which I think is something that can always talk about that 2% gain. I think that mental side is that 2% gain on the rest of the field.
I know, and you're 18 and you have the bravery of youth and you have the kind of mindset of youth, and as you begin to start thinking about it more, and I know that when we spoke, and we've spoken before, you've talked about being number one in the world. So to be number one in the world, there will be a huge mental element to it. So when did you kind of get into the English team?
This is my second year in the England girls squad. It was summer of 2018 was when I first got my first like full England cap. I played in the Junior Open at St Andrews. Was one girl and one boy from England. And I just sort of, I did quite well there, to be honest. I think I came 10th or something in the girls in a pretty strong international field. And then that winter I got into the national squad and just sort of soaked it all up and took all the advice and practiced hard, and then become, I guess, one of the best players in England.
And that's fascinating. So, because golf is an interesting game. You play as an international, you play as an individual, and then you join this team sometimes and you become a team player, right? So, I find, for example, one of the groups that I work a lot with is, batsmen in cricket, which is exactly the same thing. You're very much an individual, but you've also got to be part of a team. So how did you find that kind of being integrated into a team? Did you find that very different from where you were, or what were the kind of thoughts that you had at that time?
I think that actually brought my game on a lot, because there was other girls of the same standard, or when I first joined, I guess they were better than me, and I was like, I want to be as good as them, and I want the team to win. So, like, you can see where they are, and so I was like, I want to be like them. So I guess I thrived from it. I suppose it took a bit of adjusting, because you've always done it your way and by yourself. So then you kind of got, there's other players who've got different ideas and they already know each other. So you've got to kind of work your way into the team, I guess. But once you're in, it's really, really good.
And how many golf balls would you hit a week?
Oh, I hit at least 50 a day.
50 golf balls a day, all right?
Yeah,
so,
minimum.
Yeah, so kind of 400 golf balls a week, all right? And what would you advise people? So someone like me, what would you advise me to do in order to improve my game?
I would say spend most of your practice at the chipping and putting green.
All right. Well, most of us go to the driving range, and we kind of,
Yeah.
it's a male actual thing that we want to hit the ball as hard and fast as we possibly can.
Yeah.
So you would say that, okay, so it's all around the green. So, we're living in an extraordinary time. So how are you finding isolation and COVID-19? Is this having any impact upon your practice, or how are you getting around that?
Well, I've done so much chipping in the last couple weeks that it's just I'm going crazy when I'm chipping. I'm like, oh, next one. I've actually taken to running, and I've started running the golf course as though I was playing it. And I found that actually has like helped me not miss the golf course as much. But I've got a simulator in my garage and a net, so I can play courses and stuff. So I'm probably at an advantage over most people, but I'm starting to get a bit of cabin fever. I want to go somewhere.
And coming into the Easter weekend, I think we all feel like that. I've got an 11-year-old boy, which is kind of dealing with that challenge on his own. I think he's gone a bit busy around adults and having no interaction. So I know when we spoke before we started, you mentioned you were doing your A levels at the moment. So you're still at school, right? And when do you finish? So are you getting a straight buys in all your A levels? So is it A all the way through now, or how is that working out?
Well, I have to say I'm not a fan at all of having no exams. I feel a bit out of control of what I'm going to get in my exams. I've never really worked massively for like your test and mocks and stuff in school because of golf and like being away almost every other weekend. But I'd set aside them 2 months or whatever before and during the exams that I was going to work hard for them, and now I don't have that and I don't have the best of grades. So, and we're still getting teaching until the 14th of May, which would have been study leave. So I'm just trying to work hard and make the most of the time that I've got to improve my grades, I guess. But
Okay. And leaving school with A levels, what do you plan to do afterwards? You're going to go on and be a professional golfer? Is that the plan?
That's my hope. I don't actually need A levels. I've got a place at university in America. It's called Baylor in Texas. And I guess they do 4 years there, so I'll just go and do 4 years of golf with a bit of study.
Sounds. Which part of the US is it in?
It's in sort of southern Texas. It's in Waco. You may have heard of Waco.
Right. So better weather than where you are right now, right? A little bit warm, I would suggest. So are you do you prefer playing golf in being warm, or are you kind of a tough Newcastle girl, but Whitley Bay hacker that prefers it when it's raining and it's windy and it's a links course?
Well, I have to say my best scores are in the worst weather. And I've had my best results at bad weather tournaments, but I am most definitely a fair weather golfer.
And what is the plan? So you say that you want to be obviously world's #1. So how are you going to go about doing that?
Well, I want to do my 4 years at university and get a degree, and then I guess go to qualifying school and put in a lot of hours of practice. And I think the main factor to becoming world #1 is the mental side of the game, like dealing with bad shots, dealing with delayed tee times because of weather, and just dealing with the different like scenarios and stuff, which I think is not something many people will work on at all. And I think it's something that I've really focused on this winter. Shame there's no tournaments to put it into test, but I think that is going to be the key factor, obviously along with a lot of hard work, but I think that's
and the interesting aspect of that and of this conversation is the work that I do on the mental part of it. As you're aware, I work, who I work with, but it is about when the ball is not in play. That's the kind of critical part, So if you're a bats person, be you male or female, and I coach both, it is when the ball goes out to play until the ball comes back into play, what's going on in your brain. And so are you thinking about the shot that you've just taken? Are you thinking about the shot that's going to come? Now, golfers don't have to think. Are you thinking about the ball or the way they're going to spin it, or what type of ball you're likely to do? Are you thinking about the conditions? And, the very best players will tell you they just don't think.
Yeah.
They just don't think. And, when they're playing a shot, it's not a shot that they have thought about. It's a shot that, so you have a, 0.1 of a second if you're a bats person for the ball to leave the bowler's hand and to hit you. So you have, I'm always fascinated by, it seems like such a small fraction of time, but yet they get their feet right, they get their hands right, they get their body shape right. They've got all these things to get right in order to respond. And it's all muscle memory, right? So it's all, Steve Smith, would face 10,000 balls just to learn to do that, right? And I'm always fascinated. He's got 10,000 balls just to practice that one particular move, which is unbelievable. And obviously that's why he's the best person in the world. But from your point of view as well, it is about that kind of mental edge and getting that mental edge. And I'm sure that within the English international team, they have people who work with you on that.
Yeah, they do. We have, they're always at the end of the phone, to contact and stuff. But it's I guess I just like to get lots of different ideas, and they've got their ways, and then just reading books and see how different people do it. There's
So
really good.
Who's the golfer you most admire?
Well, I don't especially have a golfer that I would want to be or look up to massively, but Annika Sorenstam is probably my favourite. Probably one of the best female golfers ever. and she puts on lots of tournaments and stuff. So I played in her tournament last year, and she did like a seminar talk thing afterwards, and just the way she talks about what she did and how she became world number one is like I can almost relate to it, and it's quite motivational and inspirational as to how she's gone about it.
Okay. And who would be your sporting hero then?
I don't really know, to be honest. I'm not a massive like watcher of sport, or really a massive follower. I'm more just like to just play it.
Are you a Toon fan? And for those who might be listening, are you Newcastle United fans? So are you a Toon fan?
Yeah, I am a Toon fan.
God help you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you go to any of the matches?
They're always on in the house when they're playing. I maybe dot in and out, maybe watch 15 minutes here and there, but yeah.
Yeah, and I can relate to that. I live close enough to you. I'm only down the coast, as you're well aware, in time. So we're not talking from a very big distance at this moment in time. So I can relate to the match and the atmosphere. So what do you do for, hobbies do you have outside of golf? Is there anything that you particularly do or that you like doing?
I love playing hockey. I play at school. I play on the same team as my mum in a club outside of school, which is a interesting dynamic. And then I like going to the gym as well. I go in the winter, especially. I go 3 or 4 times a week to the gym. And then obviously, like girls like to do, go shopping. I love to spend a bit of money.
Absolutely, and become number one in the world, and you will have plenty to spend.
Yeah.
Undoubtedly. And what about music? What kind of music are you into?
Well, I listen to a fair amount of music, kind of like pop music, but I couldn't tell you the name of the artist or the name of the song. I just know the words and sing along to whatever comes on.
Yeah, you don't have a favorite musician in
No, I think if I was like to name someone, Tom. Oh, that's bad. I can't remember his name. From The Voice.
You're going to talk pop music to an old bloke here and expect me to remember the name?
No, he's an he's an old bloke himself.
The only time that comes to my mind is Tom Jones, and I'm guaranteeing you.
Yes, that's the one. That's the one.
Oh, Tom Jones. You like Tom Jones?
I think he's great. Yeah.
Right. Well, that's going back. That's in my era, right? Yeah. Right back in my era, right? He's. I was going to say he's grey-haired, but he doesn't. I don't know whether he's gone back to his grey hair or not. But he used to be. He used to dye it all the time, so it's not unusual, right? Yes, Tom. All right. Well, yeah. That's dumbfounded me. I didn't expect that one. No, all right. That kind of came out. Yeah. Came out of left field. Right, and when you read the books, is it just sports books that you follow, or are there any particular books that you like?
I like sports books. Books with horses, books with hockey, golf. I'm currently reading Commander-in-Chief, which is a book about Donald Trump. It's actually really good. It's quite funny. It's about how he plays golf, like who he's played with, all his clubs, how he set them up, and then they link it to like how he's got his presidency. A really good book. I'm enjoying it.
Okay. Would you like to play golf with Donald Trump?
Yeah, I would actually. That'd be quite good.
They say he cheats all the time. Now I don't know whether that's true or
yes.
I don't know whether that's an accusation or not, but they say he cheats. He doesn't look like a golfer, but then who does, right? To be honest,
yeah.
Because my father-in-law, who lives next door, is in his mid-80s, plays golf every day, right? And any time I go out with him, he can still beat me at golf, right? Yeah. So which is not, goes to show what kind of game. The only ball that I kind of grew up hitting was a hurley ball, which is the Irish hurley.
Oh yeah, I like that game.
That's so I have to pick it up to hit it. So it's not seen in with the golfing score. So tell me about, where do you see? So 18, finished school, going to go to the US, good ambitions, 4 years there practicing golf, getting to play golf and getting a degree in golf. Wow, that's cool, right? Doing the sport that you love and getting the education fitting in around the sport that you love. Right? And then after the 4 years, going on to be a professional golfer. That's the plan.
Yeah.
And after that, then when will we see you as number one in the world?
When will we see me, did you say?
Yeah. Yeah. So in that time scale, what have you planned to do? When is that?
Well, I've got 2024.
When are you going to be on the sideline saying, Rosie?
Well, you've got 2024, I graduate from university, and then got to qualify, that's 2025. Maybe give it 2027, 28, maybe?
27, all right. I'll try and live that long then in order to see that. But if I possibly can, so I can see you at an open somewhere and say, I know that person. But no, that's absolutely fantastic. When I met you first as a 17-year-old, I was fascinated playing for the English international team, aspiring number one golfer, one of the best golfers in the UK. Absolutely, you should be truly proud of what you have achieved. And I wish you every success in what you're going to achieve, and I have no doubt that you will achieve that. So for anybody else that's kind of coming behind you, what advice would you give them in the sense of, where you've got to right now? And I know, it's 6 years and you've achieved a lot, but what would you say to anybody else listening who wants to be a better golfer? What would be that one piece of advice? When my son wanted to be a cricket batsperson, right? So he wanted to be a cricket batsman, right? So when I was talking to Steve Smith, I said, what would be the one piece of advice that you would give somebody who wants to learn how to hit the ball better? And he says, what I'd do is I'd leave down the bat on the ground, and he says, I'd pick it up 10,000 times. Right? I just bend and pick it up. And I says, why is that? And he says, whatever the grip you have at the end of it, with the two hands that you picked it up with, that's your grip, right? You've kind of got your grip. So I was thinking, I don't know if I could do that 10,000 times, but that's down to him. So what would be that one piece of advice you would give?
I think if you're just starting out, stick at it through the stage where you just think, I can't do this, because once you get through it, through maybe
30 years, Rosie. I've been doing that for 30 years. It hasn't got any better. So come on, tell me something that's going to make the magic. What is that secret ingredient that's going to make me a better golfer?
Just commit to the shots you're hitting and have no regrets with your decision.
And now you're into my territory, because I would absolutely say that, right? You have to absolutely commit. And one of the things that we see in elite athletes, one of the things that defines them is what we call kind of finishing the process. They finish the process, which means that whichever they do, they finish it harder and faster than when they started it, rather than halfway through thinking, I'm not going to do this, I can't do this. None of that. It's, I'm in, and that's it. I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Right? Absolutely brilliant. So, thank you for giving the time this morning. I really appreciate it. Thank you for sharing some of those insights. I wish you every success in the future. Thanks for doing the podcast. Any kind of final comments before you go?
No, not really. Just thank you to you for having me, and stay sane through this strange time.
Thank you very much, Rosie. Thank you.
Thank you.